All right. I am here with Kirsten Foss. She is a business coach for spa professionals and also the owner of a done for you digital marketing services, which we're going to learn about. But what we want to talk about today with Kirsten is what you should be doing with your digital marketing and social media marketing heading into the new year and what you shouldn't be doing and just kind of, like talk about that. But Kirsten, I am super curious. Okay. You're a business coach, but now you have this done for you digital marketing services. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, it was a surprise for me too to be in this situation, but you know how things happen. Sometimes things are born out of necessity, and you had no intention of going there, and that's kind of what happened to me a couple of years ago. Absolutely, I'm still very heavily involved in business coaching for the spa industry, but 2 years ago, I noticed that almost all of my clients, when we were getting to the marketing part of their coaching, where they needed to start implementing what we were talking about in their strategy, they were always the bottleneck. It was whether they didn't have time, or they didn't feel confident enough, or they just didn't feel creative, or it just didn't interest them. The bottom line was their business needed more visibility and exposure, but they weren't getting it done. And so at the same time, I'd actually happened to let my previous VA go, and I was looking at hiring another one. And I pitched it to my clients and just said, hey, would you be interested in me kind of trialing out this social media management service for spas? Would that help? And they were like, yes, please, just please take it. And so we spent about 4 months beta testing it, figuring out our systems and all that kind of thing in our team. And we haven't looked back. In fact, the digital services side of my business has grown in leaps and bounds. That's actually been kind of surprising.
Yeah, it's needed. And I think it is a struggle for spa owners, for estheticians to, they love doing what they're doing in the treatment room. And it's just hard to make time to get the digital services.
Totally.
And
It's such a huge part of the business when you're talking about digital marketing.
yep.
So you've got the digital marketing strategy of the whole thing, and that would include website, email, social media. Those are kind of the main pieces.
Yep.
Yeah. So, of course, spa owners are going to be struggling with time and creativity and actual digital marketing strategy, because that is not their wheelhouse. They love, we got into the industry because of the love of being in service, giving services, skin, body, whatever it is. None of you guys got into this business to be marketers. Otherwise, you would have gone there to begin with. So it's a constant struggle for spa owners to be not just to, figure out strategy, but actually implement all of those pieces in a timely fashion so that it's all working together.
Right.
It's really tough.
No, for sure. And I love that you're in the industry. So it's almost like when you probably meet with a client that you're going to take over their digital marketing, they feel like you're in their head because you already know, being an esthetician and a spa owner and in the industry since you were in your early 20s, like you've been around the block, you've seen a thing or two.
Yeah. And that's really where, like, what my role in this part of the company is. I have three team members now, and my role on the digital services part of it is kind of like the grandmaster strategist. And it's because I get spa. I understand how that business works. I understand the clients. I understand how teams work and what they think. But I also understand digital marketing and a digital business.
Right.
So I feel like I'm in this really unique position of being able to guide our industry into their digital marketing strategy and implementation, because myself and my team, we get all this part of it. So, I'm like kind of the little pivot point in the middle that our clients really appreciate, having me as the spa lens to kind of run their marketing for them.
Yeah, for sure. I know we've definitely gone through quite the year as well. And do you feel like digital, like the social media aspect, that's changed at all this year? Have we shifted?
As far as content, you mean?
Yeah, or
Or
just yeah, the energy of it, of all of it. Do you think that? I mean, because I feel like I don't know about you, but like that word authenticity, was just kind of thrown around, and I feel like, do you feel like people are being more real, or they're over social media? Like, what's your take on it?
well, I think we've got two types of people we need to look at in that situation. One is the consumer. Is the
Right,
consumer over social media? No, they are not over social media. They are full on. There was like major upticks in users across all platforms when COVID hit.
right,
Um, Now, as far as the spa industry, what are they over it? They've always been over it. I don't think I
right.
haven't
But
met.
this, yeah,
I've met very few spa owners who are like marketing, social media. But I think more than anything that the buzzword of authenticity came to a screeching halt in terms of being a buzzword. You either are authentic in your business or you are not.
right, 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 right,
So, and sometimes our industry struggles like, what does being authentic mean? Like, how does that show up in social media? Well, it
right,
shows up in social media by having educational posts in there, not just salesy promotional posts that end with a call to action to buy now or book now. That's
right,
probably the biggest, faux pas I see across the board with spas is that the majority of their posts, they're all promotional.
right,
And nobody likes to be sold to, but lots of people like to buy. So we
right,
have to take that into consideration. So I feel like, 2020 social media meant that the spa industry content needed to get a lot more focused and a lot more focused on educational content, which
right.
you guys are all awesome at educational content. You guys
Totally.
you guys know so much. You just don't think you know as much as you do, but use the stuff, those little tidbits, those stories that you come across in the treatment room or even with online consultations or online virtual facials, that kind of stuff. Use those stories as like a launching off place for content to share that kind of educational information with people. So that's where I feel 2020 gave an opportunity for our industry is to like, yeah, you guys are closed, or rolling open and then close. It's really inconsistent. And if
Right.
you still want to connect with your peeps on social, if you want to attract more of your ideal client, it really just means that we have to, be really real, authentic, sharing what we know, not always asking for the sale.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. It's you hit the nail on the head, and people are like, "Oh, I don't know what to post," or I'm like, I think we get so complacent with our clients' questions, but that's gold. Every question that our client asks us in the treatment room, that is a topic.
That's a post.
It's a
It's
post.
it's
It's a
literally a
topic.
Q&A post. That's an educational post right there.
Absolutely. And so, just paying attention to those questions that happen on a daily basis, that's your gold right there. But I do think that 2020 has had people more spa owners over social media. They're just like, I'm out, peace out, and so I can see how your services have become more valuable to the spa owner that's like, I just will pay someone that knows what they're doing, that has a strategy. And I've known you long enough to know Kirsten's got a strategy, like you've got it nailed down. And but what are all of the services that you offer, by the way? Like what?
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we started off with social media management. And even that package in itself has now augmented because we've learned so much more about, really what it takes to get a platform more like, or get a company more visibility.
yep,
Uh, and, and that has to do with, oh crap, I just lost my train of thought. You asked me the question
For
again.
a client to get more visibility with social media management.
Oh, you're asking me about my services.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah,
lost
like
track.
what
Okay.
services that you offer. I was just trying to give
Yeah,
you a
yeah,
lead in again.
sorry. So okay. So we started off with social media management, and even that little package that we started off with has now grown because we know what it really takes to get that kind of organic visibility.
Yep.
So we still have social media management. It's a much more augmented package. We do copywriting. We're really good at copywriting for websites. We've done website rehab projects for clients. We've written service descriptions. We've launched an email and blog service this year, which has gone really, really well. So as a client, you submit your worksheet every month with your topic and your talking points, and we help you flesh those ideas out prior. And your writer writes a blog for you and uploads it. It's all SEO optimized and scheduled. And then we start off with blogging, and then we've now paired it with blog and email marketing as well. So
Nice.
really our sweet spot for digital marketing is content marketing. So anything that contains content, written word, we do a really good job of that because we have that spa lens. And it's not just me who, as an industry professional, Delia is my right hand gal and the manager of that side of the business, and she's been a spa owner for like many years. So she's actually now almost retired completely from aesthetics, and is really diving into pursuing digital marketing specifically for spas. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So, do you think that there's like a misunderstanding when spa owners want to hire out like digital services or social media management, like, and thinking what kind of ROI they should be getting out of their social media management per se?
Yeah, I definitely think there is some misunderstanding, and it's totally understandable because they don't see what it takes to create that kind of digital content.
Right.
Yeah. So, when they're looking, when we have a discovery call, most ask about, okay, well, what is going to be my ROI, my return on investment? And with social media management, it's one of those things, like the goal of social media for most companies is it's visibility.
Right.
And then there's, through your content strategy, you're trying to make it easy for followers to take that next step to either call, email, book an appointment, to take some sort of action with the actual spa. So it's actually quite difficult to, and a lot of, in the social media management world, ROI, we have to determine what metrics we're following. So are you just looking for followers for followers? You got to be careful with that. Right? You don't want to buy followers. You don't want bots doing all of this because you're going to mess up your social media. So when it comes to social media and ROI, it's more of an ROO, a return on objective. So I know that's kind of hard sometimes for spas because they're like, if I'm spending this amount of money, I need to be getting this amount of money out of it. But it doesn't always work that way when we're in business, right? So it's kind of like your website. What's your ROI of your website? It's like, it's over a really long period of time because it takes time for the SEO to build. So you're not going to get an ROI in like a month or 3 months or 6 months that you're thinking it. So with social media management, it's definitely an ROO, and it's the objective is almost always visibility, brand awareness, like just learning about your brand, about the values, about the services that you offer, how you offer them, the team culture, all of that stuff, with the intention that it's driving traffic to that booking or buying.
Right. And would you think that ROI is sometimes you're looking at engagement, right? Just like you were saying, well, how do you know from your website? Well, you can tell by how many people, like the traffic, if that's increasing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and then also how many opt-ins you're getting and how that is, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of
Yeah.
billing, but that whole thing. And I think that's I love how you put it, like a return on objective. Like what are you trying to accomplish and what do you need first before you can start converting those followers into sales, so to speak.
And it's also, there's a
Yeah.
responsibility of the spa. Like there's a place between digital marketing and the actual business that meets. And the spa has to have their systems
Mhm.
and their customer service scripts and all of that stuff, you know, really well done and easy, because our job is to take the follower up to this point and then you take it and run with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The other thing I find I get questions about has to do with ROI and like how long is it going to take me to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
What we've noticed over the past couple of years with social media management is that, especially if your social media has been a little on the lax side, like not great content, not really engaged, we find it takes about 3 months just to get that list, rolling again. And
Yeah.
then at the 6 months, we really start seeing a shift in the type of consumer that the business is actually attracting. So between that 3 and 6 months, that's when you're starting to see more people calling. Like if you've been a generalist in terms of aesthetics, mani pedi, facials, waxing, and you're trying to niche into skin, it's going to take about 3 months for that messaging to wheel to kind of get going. And then that 3 to 6 months is when you start noticing more people calling, booking for facials. So it just
Right.
takes some time
Oh,
to get rolling on that.
it does. Yeah. We'll have to have a whole nother conversation another time about niching. But yeah, so when do you think it's like the ideal time for spa owners to invest and outsource their digital marketing?
Well, it's that point where they're just too much on their plate. Like especially if you're a solo and you're the chief cook and bottle washer, it's a lot. If you are a solo that is got, you've got a full clientele, you're booked out, 3 or 4 weeks in advance. It's this is part of, I'm glad you're recording this because this is part of what's happening with my brain through my stress is I just lose it.
Oh, okay.
I lose my train of thought. Um,
But when a spa owner is really ready, is like you were saying, when they're like they reach that point of
oh, right. Yeah.
2020, you're ready.
Yeah.
It's like it's you've had enough. You just can't keep up, and it becomes such a stress. I've just talked to so many owners where they're like, social media just stresses me out. And I think handing the torch to you and letting you manage all of that and letting them just sit back and watching, and let it just start to grow for them.
Yeah. And, it's really about that place of being like too busy to be able to kind of just manage everything, and something has to be taken off their plate. And because social media management is a fairly big job, you know, when
Yep.
we take that on, like we have a team that does this. And there's two internal review due dates before the client even gets it. So it's a lot to do social media really well. So what I notice is that it's usually that place where they've already got some success, they've got some cash flow, and they're ready to kind of pick something to outsource. A lot of
Right.
times I see the pattern is they first outsource their bookkeeping and accounting, which is perfect. Then I start seeing them outsourcing social media management or some sort of digital marketing piece.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. But, it can be tough because you can kind of be busy, feeling too busy, especially with your personal life and your business together, and not quite have enough money to be able to outsource.
Mm,
That's a really sticky, tricky place to be in. It's kind of frustrating. And sometimes you just have to take a calculated risk and you just know that, okay, I need to invest in this service for a period of time to allow me to
yeah.
focus on what I'm good at in my spa business and make money that way.
Right. So if they can't quite afford it, but they need help
Yeah.
with
If
their
they,
digital marketing.
yeah, I would say if you're even not at that place where you can, invest, like, it's a little bit of a stretch. If it's going to be a lot of a stretch, then my suggestion is to go get some training. There's some really great courses out there for social media, doing your own social media management. You've got lots of training in your membership program. So, you're as a business owner, you're going to pay one way or the other. You're going to pay with your own time and energy, or you're going to pay with money. So if you don't have the money, then you're going to have to carve out some time to learn how to run your social media on your own well.
Right. Yeah, it's really a catch-22, when you're first starting out, or if you don't have the funds to support branching out and delegating. And I don't think it's a bad thing to learn a little bit so you can get your feet wet and just kind of have an understanding of marketing and how things work and how your client's brain works. But
I find as a company bringing on spas for social media management, it's definitely a lot easier to work with those kinds of spa owners that understand some of the nuances, because then they understand why we need certain information.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have very happy clients that are using your services and they just love how you work. So I was like, "Ooh, I got to get Kirsten on here and we got to just talk a little bit about how to handle this." And also getting to our point of what we talked about earlier is like, what changes do you think, what should we be doing going into 2021 with our social media? What shouldn't we be doing?
Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
know?
I don't think there's really too much change between 2020 and 2021, kind of heading back to what we kind of first started off with this conversation about more educational content, not as much promotional, salesy stuff. Um, and, really it's about being in service to your clients and to your community for whatever services that you have to offer. So if you're thinking like, okay, I'm going to do some educational posts, but what is this really? Is this going to actually bring me a client out of this one post? Probably not just the one post, but that's not what social media is about. That's more like paid ads. Social media is supposed to be like personal and it's about relationships. So when you are continuously giving on social media, you give, then you ask for a sale. It's more of a long-term relationship building.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I see as far as spas and social media in 2021. I think it really has to do with about getting focused. There's lots of training out there that you can get, but you have to get focused on actually doing your social media or outsourcing it to somebody, but like get focused on the value of social media, consistent social media. Don't use, as I noticed, like sometimes they'll get into posting like, oh yeah, I've got some inspiration. They'll post for like a week and then it's crickets for like 2 weeks. And then they'll post for like another couple of days and then it's crickets for a couple. That inconsistency hurts you and your visibility. Because they can't really, your viewers don't really start counting on your content, right?
Right. It's a trust thing, right? It's a trust.
Sure.
So how often should they be posting?
I would say posting 3 times a week minimum. That's only 12 posts a month. That's not a lot of posts. And I would highly encourage, if you're doing it on your own, to batch it out, like write out, like what we do for our clients is we have a Google Doc for each client. It's labeled client's name, social media strategy. And once we've determined what their focus is, we like promote our educational posts, 1, 2, 3, 4, promotional posts, 1, 2, 3, 4, engagement posts, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your 12 posts, and then just start filling in the blanks. So if your focus is microdermabrasion for January, then I would say at least 2 of your posts for education should be some sort of educational nuggets about microderm. And then maybe the other 2 are about microderm, why you want to pair microderm with a hydrating facial. And, so still in that body of information, but it's just education.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier once you have that like spelled out on the Google Doc. We use later.com. I'm not sure what you use, but we love Later because it's just, we find it super easy to use. And, then you just find your images, plunk them in 3 times a week, start writing out your captions a little bit more fully. And when you batch it out like that, it's a lot easier to get done. And then you got your 12 posts for the month. Done.
Mm-hmm. But if somebody wanted to outsource and use your services, where can they find you?
You can find a list of our services at kirstenfoss.com. And there's on the nav bar, you'll see digital services. And yeah, you can check those out. We've got social media management, content writing, copywriting, blog and email. And then what we've actually found that we're doing is we're taking on some projects that are really cool projects. Like we created an affiliate program on a WordPress site for one of our skin therapy clients. And we're actually starting on creating e-courses for our skin therapists. So that's another really exciting kind of projects that we're delving into with the digital side of it. Oh, you're all frozen. There you go. Are you still frozen? You're frozen.